Hey, welcome back. Sorry for the delay in the uploads. I actually had an emergency come up last week, and so I didn't get to work on the game very much, but I did get to work on it this week, so I'll show you the progress that I've made. I'm taking this game in a new direction that I really like, and I'll explain why I went that direction and how we got there, but let me know what you think. So during my whole brainstorming phase, I went through a bunch of iterations of different genres like I talked about. So here's the really basic clicker game. You get to 10 and then it gives you upgrade options. And then you'll see you get 1 click per second. And then the more you click, it'll just unlock more and more upgrades. And I thought this was a little boring, and so I decided to move on to something a little more complicated. And by more complicated, I mean I went the rhythm game route. I set up this whole dance floor scene with the spotlight, the piñata swaying. It's looking pretty neat. And I spent so long trying to sync the attacks and movements and everything to the beat. And I finally got it, which I'm so glad. I also learned how to use music sequencers and created a little demo song. It's pretty repetitive, but it works. So I'll show you the result of all this. So yeah, there he goes. Yeah, and at least the song has like a decent beat. It's got the reverb. Gets you pretty pumped to attack a piñata. So yeah, there's it moving to the beat, but I'll show you the attacks. The song could keep looping until you eventually lower the boss's health to 0. So as I started to add more songs and different attacks, I realized it was becoming more and more difficult to sync it all perfectly to the music, and I decided to really scale it down so it's more doable for my current skill level. So as much as I enjoy the whole rhythm game idea, I think I'm gonna have to come back to that one. So I really brought it back to the drawing board for a little bit, and I thought, what's more basic than like rock, paper, scissors, right? You've got a light hit, a medium hit, and a heavy hit, and you have an AI opponent, and if you use light, it cancels a heavy hit, medium cancels light, and heavy cancels medium. And essentially what you're trying to do here is be the last person to hit the piñata when the health goes down to 0, and then you win. So here's some example turns against this AI opponent. Start with the heavy hit, and he used medium, so I canceled his out and did 3 damage because of heavy. 1 damage, 2 damage, 3 damage. I also have this little counter here. Whenever you successfully land a hit, you can build up part of a special meter. I'm thinking something along those lines. Do a light hit. He did heavy, so I canceled his hit. Got another power meter. Piñata health is down to 11. Okay, and then you end up with an interesting situation like this, where it has 1 health left. Any hit can destroy it. But you gotta decide, do I do a heavy hit thinking that the AI might do a medium hit and break it that way? Or do I do a light hit to try to hit first? You just never know, so let's see what happens. Okay, so he used medium hit, canceled my light hit, and the opponent takes it. So there you go. So yeah, it's really basic right now, pretty ugly, but it did get me thinking. Games like Buckshot Roulette, they're pretty popular right now, and honestly, they just have really basic choices. In the case of Buckshot Roulette, you either shoot the dealer or yourself, and you're basically banking on probabilities, like maybe it's a 60-40 chance that it will be a live round, but you never know. And then there are added on layers like items, double or nothing, things like that, and it keeps it really interesting and engaging. Or Flathead, where it's really just higher or lower, but there's this horror element and this creeping monster that's getting closer and closer. They just take really simple binary choices and make it into something really interesting. And so I thought maybe with this whole rock, paper, scissors thing, we could take it more in that direction. But first, we're gonna make an actual 3D model for this piñata. I clearly don't know what I'm doing in Blender still, but I think it kind of comes together by the end, you'll see. It's extremely janky, but whatever. I really don't want to commit to full 3D, but I still really want 3D elements, so I figured out the oldest trick in the book, which is having the background, middle ground, and foreground layers, and then scrolling them with parallax based on how you're moving. Check it out. We're definitely going to be using this. All right, so after a bunch of 3D modeling, after doing some animations and composing a whole scene, I'm finally ready to reveal the final product. And by final product, I mean the super pre-alpha, really low quality prototype. Take a look. So we've got our little guy in idle position, his bat isn't moving, but we'll fix that. We've got this guy facing the wrong direction, and then we've got our cursed piñata. What could be inside? You'll have to find out. So yeah, as messed up as this is, I'm really happy with the amount of work I got done. And this is a really good basis to kind of implement all the mechanics that I've been thinking of. So this is what we're gonna be building on a lot from here on out. Also, I just feel like this is really cool. It's not the most practical thing, but the parallax just, man. So yeah, I'm taking it more of a creepy direction and not necessarily a horror game, but I was really inspired by Buckshot Roulette, which I played for the first time this week. I had heard of it and I knew it was going viral and stuff, but I had never really looked into it until now, and I'm glad I did. I just really like that creepy lo-fi aesthetic, and I really want to run with that for my game. Plus, with such a short time frame, it's really more realistic to do something simple like that. I know I've been showing a lot of like prototype stuff and a lot of the learning process, and I feel like the first 3 weeks was pretty much dedicated to learning, but I feel like I know enough now with Godot to be able to just move on and actually start making the real game. So in the next update, we're not gonna have any more janky prototype stuff. I'm gonna show you a more significant update to the game itself. But until then, I'm gonna get back to work on the game, so I will keep you posted.